Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
I do have a,
Pardon?
sorry. I do have a question. One of the things that we've talked about in the past was capacity and levels of capacity in this plant that affect the Auburn area. Also, us as a board trying to set aside some specific amounts of sewer availability, whether it's in the city of Auburn or outside the city of Auburn, for purposes of commercial and industrial developments that are coming. I know that there are residents or other projects and different things or different properties that are outside of Auburn's purview in regards to zoning, but do fall within their water service area based on where we are from service delivery, which puts it in a bit of a weird situation because some of those properties would be available for development for various things such as commercial or residential, depending on what someone would ask for. I would like to know if you can provide us the numbers where we're at from a total capacity we have at this point. And if we don't have that, then I would like this to be tabled until we have that information and to see what's going on. Because if I feel like if we can totally pause it, it may be paused in a permanent fashion. And I know we've had things that we're addressing and we're working through, but I would like for us to either know the number tonight and have a portion that can be set aside, or I can make it as a motion that we table until next meeting. I'll make that as a motion to table until next meeting for purposes of information to support the resolution.
Second. I have a motion from District 1 and a second from District 4.
While we're on this, Chris, do you know the amount of capacity we may have? Because while we're studying, we want to make sure for the safety of the system and best of Barrow County to do this possible.
I don't have that information tonight, but
Chris, come to the mic.
yes, sir. I don't have that information tonight, Commissioner, but I can get the information to allow you to know exactly what we have approved for that system and bring it back to you.
Is there clarity on the information? Commissioner Goodman talked about total capacity, he talked about providing a breakdown for commercial, a breakdown for industrial, for the entire Tanner's Bridge
Correct.
basin.
Correct. It was, the purpose of my statement is that if we're doing it for Auburn, there is a factor that Tanner's Bridge doesn't just encompass Auburn. There's a factor of where it is and what we're doing. So I do feel that a feasibility study needs to be done, and if that means there has to be a pause that supports that, then so be it. But I think we need to clarify where we are from our numbers, our general numbers now, and be able to make a firmer decision when it comes to resolution and timeframes or things like that, and how long the study will take. I know our RFP has to be put into place and things have to happen to make that actually occur. But that's the reason for me putting it as a motion for purpose of discussion. If we feel it needs to be different, so be it. But I think tabling will give us a better time for more information.
I think one of the things that we know we're doing is a master sewer study. Because the Tanner's Bridge facility is the largest facility that we have, currently built for 1.5 MGD. Discharge permit is for 5 MGD. So that's gonna sewer a very large area along the 316 corridor. The only pause right now is in the Auburn water service area. We've had a series of issues with Auburn being able to collect and remit sewer service. They are the water provider, we are the sewer provider. You know, it's a unique situation. Utilities and operating an enterprise fund is the only thing in government that you can run like a business. And we run this one like a business. And we rely on our utility partners, where we are the sewer provider and they are the water provider. We rely on them to correctly bill and remit. And we've had a series of issues. Auburn has gotten much, much better, but there are still questions. Monthly, are we getting the correct amount for the service we're providing? I I think the pause is appropriate. The board actually rescinded sewer availability letters several months ago due to a non-payment issue, which was cleared up before the end of June. But we still have a situation where a utility partner may not be in full compliance with the contract we have to provide service. I think that the pause is appropriate. I would allow other commissioners to comment if there are any.
First, to Commissioner Goodman's point, I agree that if the purpose of the pause is to allow us time to evaluate availability, and I've been here before and have said multiple times that I support restricting and reserving capacity for commercial and industrial. If the purpose of this pause on residential developments is to understand the capacity and have an opportunity to provide the sewer master plan specifically for the Tanner's Bridge facility, then I think that the temporary pause should apply to all residential sewer availability for the entire Tanner's Bridge basin area. To the chairman's point about working with the utility partners, absolutely we need to work with the utility partners. However, as was mentioned, we got the biggest bulk of the issues resolved with the city of Auburn 6 months ago. We rescinded availability letters without a change of availability that ultimately hurt some of our folks. It didn't hurt the city of Auburn. It hurt the people in our community who are trying to sell their land, have been working with developers in one case for 2 years, trying to go through the rezone process with the city of Auburn. They have a sewer availability letter from us, and then just as they're getting their rezone finally approved from Auburn, we yanked the sewer availability letter. And despite the fact that Auburn has done what they needed to, has gotten caught up with us, we are still sitting here 6 months later and harming the people who own property in Barrow County. It's not hurting the city of Auburn as much as it's affecting the people in our community who are trying to make the best economic choice for them with their property. And that's one of my biggest issues. If we're going to do this, we should have done this 6 months ago when we first made a decision. We've been de facto doing this for the last 6 months. And so that's all I've got to say on it.
So, Chris, like Commissioner Ward just said, we have been operating this for the last 6 months. And Madam Chairman, maybe you can correct me on this. Do we actually need this resolution because we're already doing this? Or,
It provides clarity for the staff.
okay, Chris, can you tell us the items that the city of Auburn is not compliant with right now? Things that may be happening that we don't know.
Well, I'll say it this way, the board knows the history there, that we've had to work through with Auburn, and as the chairman communicated, there has been some improvements. However, I just provided information to the administration that this month, when we received our report from Auburn, there were some questionable issues within what they are showing in their payment versus what should have got collected. So we still have some issues there that, we're trying to address with them.
And if I may add, in addition to what Chris said, City of Auburn has not been adhering to the fee schedule on the sewer side that this board has adopted. And in addition to that, there is some questionable items related to late fees, questionable items related to the actual flows. So there's a whole lot of aspects that are going on within the Auburn water sewer service area just related to billing and the intergovernmental agreement between the two governments.
And I think we can work all of that out. I think Auburn needs to come to the table as a utility partner and work some of these issues out. This is not not in any way to cause harm. This is a pause to a water provider that has difficulty collecting and remitting our sewer fees. If we're going to run our enterprise fund like a business, this has to be corrected. Because if it's not, it means people in the county will be paying higher water and sewer utility prices because we've got leakage, so to speak. We have to be responsible and run this like a business. Also, the master sewer study will look at a lot of different things. One thing it should do is match up the sewer service areas with water service areas. We have the largest capacity of water available with our water plant upgrade would be 14.2 million gallons a day. So limited amount of sewer capacity. Dams Bridge right now is at 5 MGD. We don't know that the state will increase that any further than that, or we're going to need to find a new discharge site. But ultimately, we appreciate Auburn investing in a reservoir, having their own water supply. They're going to be at about 1 MGD, 1.5 MGD. In order for us to operate our utility system, we've made a tremendous investment in sewer. We need to match our sewer use to our water availability. Or again, we're operating our water system and sewer system